Now, panelists, we'll take some questions from the audience. I got one question here where this fellow was a fire support, was a field artilleryman, and he was stationed at Fire Base 4 Papa 1 in 1980. And for Dave and Crate, did you plan artillery support for the patrols you were on? Did you have forward observers with you?
Do you want me to go first or David?
Yes,
You answered, LT.
Okay. So we did have a artillery forward observer on guard post Gladys for a while, but we didn't have any with us on the patrols. One of the sort of sad stories I have was that when that Bravo Company work party was ambushed in 1969, where the helicopter went down, was that when they were pinned down in that rice paddy, there was a call for indirect fire because they were pinned down under heavy machine gun fire, and the initial burst of fire had killed one guy and wounded 3. And it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon when that happened. So it was cold. It was March, as I recall, and it started to snow. So we wanted to get these guys out of there. So we asked for, it wasn't me, but I understand that artillery support was called on, and it was denied because the political situation. So the second request was, how about just put smoke on the North Korean position and forget the HE, but let's put smoke on it so at least we get these guys out. And the answer was sorry. And so those guys laid out in a rice paddy fortunately, Sergeant McKinney was able to get them to move up from one position to another because the North Korean soldiers came down and threw grenades into the position they were initially pinned down in. But again, to shorten the story, we had to wait till about 7 o'clock at night till it turned dark to get the wounded out and the dead. And we just never got any indirect fire.
thanks, Crate. And I'll just add something to 4 Papa 1. Now, 4 Papa 1 at the time, by 1987, was no longer used as a fire base. The battalion that rotated for 10 weeks for DMZ duty used to have their battalion tactical operations center set up on 4 Papa 1 in the bunkers that used to be used to house that field artillery battery. In 1986 or 87, when the divisions upgraded from 105 millimeter howitzers to 155, they opened up a fire base further south on the other side of the Imjin River called 4 Papa 3. And those, they would have, they call it a hot gun, and it would literally follow the patrols out on the DMZ that were in the DMZ at the time. And the same thing with my heavy mortar platoon. We also had one gun man 24/7 following him. But the rules of engagement were very strict. To be able to use indirect fire would have required the personal approval of the division commander back in 1987. So